You think I'll let you zone?
Baka.
I always wanted to do something like this and talk about TV shows that I'm interested in or that I have loved because it either reflects the times or the issues of the society, either through a certain adult lens or that of a kid's, as most offer some type of message or lesson to show. The first of these shows is one that I would always watch in the mid-90s as a kid during a time when Nick was expanding to the hours of 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and that was Hey Arnold, which is a great show that's centered around kids living life in a fictional New York with all the comedy and drama that comes with it. I would start with my favorite episodes or the first episode to talk about when it was a series, but I'll be a little different and talk about the pilot episode that got repurposed into an actual episode later on in the series. This episode's name is just Arnold, and it starts with Arnold spacing out during a game of street baseball as Helga screams to wake him up to play. So I don't know how common it is to space out during a game when you're the one going up to bat. It happens. Arnold acts confidently, telling his friend Gerald he'll aim for the gap between second and third base, but Gerald gives us a clue that Arnold isn't very good at baseball and more often than not embarrasses himself when playing, like getting hit by the pitcher when he's up to bat. It's further reinforced by Helga telling everyone that Arnold can't hit anything, and if he does, the ball won't go further than the bases. So everyone moves in, which I could relate to, as there were sports and games I sucked at no matter what I did or how much I practiced. I just was a liability to the team, so more often than not, I didn't play. Then we get our first introduction to Harold, one of the future antagonists slash frenemies, who is a pitcher and trolling Arnold because he's an easy out, making fun of how much he sucks. And if it was his weirdo grandma that taught him how to play baseball, and Arnold frustratingly tells him to stop yapping and to pitch it, in which Arnold hits him and beams Harold in the head. The only one with brains goes to wake Harold up is Helga, who slaps him awake and says that Arnold hit him with the baseball. And being all reasonable, it comes to the logical conclusion of a fight. Though looking at this, it should have been seen as an accident, but my guess is that Harold thought Arnold got back at him for laughing at him was to hit him in the head with the baseball, which is very dangerous as one of the low ends that would cause him to have a concussion, or on the high end, well, Harold wouldn't be getting back up, so I would have sent him home to his mom and said what happened instead of trying to fight him. But you know how kids are. Helga protects Arnold, almost revealing that she has a thing for him, and the kid's wondering why, and Harold is as well, and Helga comes up with a big brain play by telling Harold he wants to let him think about what he did, and since he's simple-minded, goes along with it by telling Arnold tomorrow he's going to deflate that football head of his, but brings up a good question that what if he leaves town? But Helga assures him that she will be watching over him to make sure he doesn't leave. Later, Arnold and Gerald walk to his house with Arnold already throwing in a towel because he can't fight. Gerald tries to be positive in saying that he's a hero for beating that bully, and that most of the people will forget the fight by tomorrow if Helga doesn't do everything in her power to make everyone remember. As she passes by on the bus, and Gerald reconsiders by asking for a CD player. Back with Helga, we see how much she loves that football head, as her vocabulary is well above a 4th grader. Then we see Brainy stalk Helga before she knocks him out. At his front door, Arnold asks Gerald if he wants to stay for dinner, but he declines, saying that he'd rather be mauled by weasels than he'd eat her food, and Arnold says fair point. They get a dap up, and Arnold goes inside. A side note I just want to make here is how bad of a cook is Miriam, and is that the reason Grandpa constantly runs to the bathroom, besides being old. Once inside, Arnold's grandpa tries to give him some advice that he might need because Harold, who is a big oaf, is going to squash him flat in a fight, but what should he do? Well, he doesn't know except not to eat a lot of raspberries, and runs back into the restroom, which in some people, eating a lot of them can cause some diarrhea, so there's correlation there. As he goes to his room, his grandmother takes a message for him, as we see Arnold's room is pretty cool and chill, a place to want to hang out at. But we also find out that Helga is outside his house, making sure he has no rest. Looking at the scene, I wonder if Helga knew no one really cared about her at home, that she could just be out after the streetlights came on. When we get to those episodes, those were really fun to talk about. In Arnold's dreamscape, we see that Arnold is running away from his bullies and climbs a skyscraper swinging a bat, with Dream Harold saying, what is he gonna do? Swing the bat at him in a mocking tone until Arnold decides to act crazy and starts swinging it until he wakes up. Now, one would think that Arnold meant by bringing a weapon to the fight and just beating Harold to hell and back with that bat, but no, He just brings a boombox. Man, Helga's pulling out all the stops to be a hater by getting the front page to tell people Arnold's gonna get his ass beat. She's either spending tens of thousands of dollars of her dad's money for this, or had him call in some favors to some smaller newspapers to give to Arnold to make sure he wouldn't forget, because front page is like $70K. Helga is, if anything, committed to what she sets out to do by making Arnold's day either better or more miserable, depending on the story of the time. Arnold and Gerald walk to the area they play in as we see Helga being a bookie for the fight, while Harold wonders where the football head is. Arnold shows up and Harold is ready to roll. Arnold tells him before they fight that he should know that he's crazy and you should never hit a crazy person. Harold doesn't believe it and tells him to show how crazy he is before they fight. Arnold does a dance number, hurting himself in the process, telling them to not hit him because he'll do it himself as he runs into cars and busts plates over his head. Harold sees this, and to him, Arnold is really crazy and that it was kind of cool, so does he want to join their club? But Helga's mad because she sold tickets for a fight and there needs to be a fight. So Harold tells two randos to fight instead, and everyone gets into it as they leave with Helga saying that boys are stupid. I like this ending to the problem not only because it's funny, but it shows that there is more than one way to solve a problem. You'd be surprised at how many fights stop when one person acts crazy, and don't lie, I bet you would walk away from your opponent if they started getting naked and acting like a gorilla flinging trash and waste at you. Trust me, it's worked more often than not because people aren't expecting that type of reaction and would forget everything if the target was willing to humiliate themselves in a fight like that. It also shows how weird people and kids in general are. First you're fighting over something or someone accidentally does something and they want to fight all of a sudden because people are laughing at them. Then the person they want to fight does something weird, cool, or interesting that they forget why they were fighting or got mad in the first place and would rather have fun instead of be mad all day. This is how true to the slice of life Hey Arnold has to their stories and characters to flesh them out and be so relatable to the everyday nature of life. I hope you enjoyed my little rambling about Hey Arnold, as I got some other shows I want to talk about when I can, so please look forward to that, and as always, stay gold, and I'll see you guys in the next video.